man. And I was sold out for him. Actually, I really worshiped him instead of God.
Yeah.
And so, and I thought he got saved with me, but he didn't stay saved. he didn't stay with the program. So, anyway, down the years, and I stayed with him. I moved up in Illinois. I lived up there. And 6 months after I was married to him, I got pregnant with my son, my oldest son. And the 6 months and 3 months into that pregnancy, we moved back to Florida. We moved around a lot when I was first married. and we moved back to Florida. And he had ran off. He just ran off and left me with another woman. And he did that over and over and over again. It was a total, like, I would come home and I'd be working, trying to make ends, because he wouldn't work. And he'd work for a little bit, and then he just couldn't hold a job. And he partied, he hawked things off. So I know what all that is. He'd hawk everything off, you go to see it, turn on TV, and it won't be there. So, I mean, it's just like, oh, Jesus. And thank God I had my mom at the time and my family. I had a bunch of brothers, and they sure didn't like me. And but I forgive him. I forgave him a long time ago. I know it wasn't him, that was the enemy, but I couldn't live with him. I went through this abuse, verbal, mental, everything you could think of abuse. I went through it with him, and I said no more. I couldn't do it no more. And then finally, but the enemy was pulling me over, instead of going running to God. I blamed everything on God. And I said, okay, I've had enough. I ain't going to be this good girl anymore. I remember that song, this good girl's going to go back. That was Timmy Wynette. Did you know that? Well, anyway, I said, but see what you see. See, you got to understand, this music is powerful. You don't realize this music will sing to your soul. And all the old songs that come out, and boy, especially when you're hurting, when you're rejected, you feel like a big zero, and you're nothing. And so I just turned, went to the world, and boy, the enemy was out there. So I went and partied for about a year or so, and then finally I met my ex-husband, my husband now. Well, he was just coming out of the army, and I was just getting over my, getting a divorce and all that stuff. Well, and he had a lot of baggage. And I was like, I still have tons of baggage. And so we just got married because we were in love, and we were.
Love again. Love.
Love.
How is that?
I'm sorry. It's true. So, when you look like that, you went good. But anyway, we got married, and God was, I knew that when I met my husband Gary, really truly, he treated me like a Prince Charming. I never had no one treat me like him. I just was like, this is not real. I just can't believe it, that someone would love me like that. And it was God. The Lord was using him and to put us together, even though we had these rough edges and all this garbage, but we hung it out, we stuck it out, and we went through trials and tribulations of that, and many separations in that, because we was young, and then the Lord told me, because I didn't want to go back to the Lord then. I wanted to do it on my own. And finally, the Lord said to me, after 4 years of marriage with Gary, he said, Sharon, if you don't come back to me and let me heal you and let me deliver you, you're going to go through it again. And I went, some people it takes longer, but I'm done. I'm more slap out, Lord Jesus. I'm tired of the abuse. I'm tired of all this garbage, it's like I was repeating myself. I was like on a little merry-go-round going round and round and round. And I thought that, what am I ever going to get off this hill, off this cycle? And I said, God, and here still I'm stubborn Sharon, thinking I'm going to do it on my own. The boy, he said, Sharon, because he'd been growing me. I had my mama praying. I had my sisters praying and my brother praying that saved him. And they was interceding for me. But I said, okay, God, I get it. I surrender. And I rededicated. I come back to Jesus. And I said, buddy, I'm getting all that I can. And I grabbed the hold of that Word of God. And I held on to it like a pit bull. And I ate it. And I just drunk it in. And I went back to, I was at Grace Baptist. I went to this little Baptist church. And got rededicated my life back to the Lord, started doing all the things they tell me to do, got back in church, started singing even. Wow, they even put me up there and sing. So I was like, wow, this is cool, because I used to sing all the time with my cousins. We grew up singing the harmonies and all that together. And then finally, the Lord started to open doors for me to sing. So I started singing. So then, He gave me my son, my second son. But God was changing me. You see, when the Lord started speaking to me about changing me and told me to come back to Him, and that I'll heal you and fix it, I said, well, what about Him? Wait a minute. I said, Lord, that's not fair. You all know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. And I said, but He said, Sharon, and He said, I'll take care of him. I will take care of him. And buddy, God kept His word. I'm telling you, He started changing him right before my eyes. Right before my eyes. He started delivering, and he wasn't even saved yet. He wasn't even saved yet. So, God started, because God knew I meant it. And God had a calling and a plan for me. And it was good and not of evil. And that's what He has for all of us. Right. And so I surrendered, like I said, and He started changing everything and doing, gave him my second son, and was life peachy? No. I still had trials and tribulations, and Gary wasn't saved yet, and all this stuff, but I kept going on. I was pressing on, taking my boys to church, and then my little one, when he was real little, God healed him. He had a blood disorder, and it was called ganglioblin. His immune system was not there. He had a lot of problems with his babies. He was sick all the time. And they had to put shots in each one of his legs. And so they were going to do this. They were going to start taking him to all children's hospital and put it intravenously in his body. And I said, wow. No. And I started, about that time, I changed churches. I was getting so hungry. I wanted so much more. I was just like that river. I need much more. And I knew I had to have something more. And I started going to this little Assembly God church. And I started planting myself in there. And they started talking about healing. And I went, oh my goodness, God can heal? Oh, you mean it's the same today, yesterday, forever? He did what He did 2,000 years ago? Yes. And I hung on that word. I was just a young baby Christian and young woman, and I just read every scripture I said about healing, and God healed my son. And I'll never forget when He healed him. He touched him, and we went back to All Children's Hospital, and he said to me, and they checked him out, and the Lord, I stood in prayer for him. I stood in prayer, prophecy for him to be healed, and he was healed. And I give all the glory. And they said, your son is fine. And that was the day the shuttle blew up. Remember that? That was the day the doctors at the same thing said, your son is fine. There is nothing. And he didn't have a cold for I don't know how many years. Gospel truth. And I kept telling everyone, my family, I was like, that. I was so radically saved. But about that time, I got got a little bit deeper in the Lord. I was coming in a little bit deeper, and he was just getting me more. Well, my mother got sick.